to the DNVR Rockies podcast, brought to you by Strava Craft Coffee. And remember to use the promo code DNVR20 for you first-time users to get 20% off, DNVR25 for second-time users to get 25% off. That's CBD-infused, deliciously rich, and potentially life-altering Strava Craft Coffee. I'm your host, Drew Creasman. I'm the managing editor here at DNVR Rockies. Patrick Lyons will be joining us in just a moment from outside of Coors Field, as he has been in on the post-game press conferences for us for this one. Joining me, though, in studio, a very special guest, one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. My mother, Barbara Creasman. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
So you got to come out for an opening day. Look, this time a year ago, we're going to get into the game. We're going to talk about the 4-2 loss to the Dodgers, the 3-1 series loss. We'll get into all the baseball analysis of it. But this time a year ago, you were coming on the podcast, and we were talking about Ken Burns' baseball documentaries.
Exactly.
And as much as we love baseball documentaries, actual baseball out in the sun today had to have been nice.
Real live baseball, in person, going, a crowd. It was wonderful. What can I say?
Yeah.
Great.
So let's go ahead and get into this one just a little bit here. Obviously, the first inning is something that's going to have to be talked about. You're sitting there. That's a rough one.
Oh,
you never want to see a guy, make a first impression like that. What's going through your mind as the fan who's just experiencing everything?
Like, you're ready for a good game. All three games have been good. They've been fun. And you think, oh dear, they've got the dropsies in the top of the first. We cannot pick up a ball. We can't throw a ball. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after walking Mookie Betts to open the game, Gomber gets a comebacker right to him. It looks like a double play ready to happen. He throws it into center field, and you're kind of off to the races at that point.
You think pitchers can't throw baseballs, right?
Only one direction.
They can only throw it to the plate. They can't throw it to the first baseman, the second baseman. It's like, oh, how did that happen?
He did have another one later in the game where on a bunt, and he threw it with some purpose over to first, and I think everyone held their breath a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a couple of, in the other games too, a couple of weird, bad fielding things, and you keep thinking, okay, get them out of the way. Right?
Yeah, well, the whole series was extremely weird, and we'll get deeper into that when Patrick joins us in a bit, because one of the things that we want to talk about near the end of the show is what we're going to remember about this series. So we'll all keep that in mind over some unusual ones. But something that I don't think I will necessarily remember, but was definitely odd, was the base running choices from Mookie Betts today. He should have been out at home. That was another error that Austin Gomber had on it was ruled a wild pitch. I am going to call out Elias Diaz a bit on that. The guy swung through the pitch. It was a great pitch. You've got to block that in the dirt.
Right.
But they really should have had him at the plate. Gomber's got to see that ball into his glove and make the tag at the plate. So that's 3 outs in the first inning that he kind of gave back with bad defense, and it led to 3 runs.
Yeah, and if they score 3 in the top of the first and it ends with 4, what does that tell you, right?
That really was, kind of basically the story of the baseball game. He continued to struggle. He ended up issuing 7 walks in the game. That's a career high by a lot. 4 was his previous career high. I do think there was some jitters, some nerves. I think that's what we're going to hear from Patrick when he joins us, what Bud Black has to say after the game. Joining a new team, making your first start in a new stadium, and then, of course, the added thing, and I really don't want to belabor this point, but, everyone on Twitter, some guy behind home plate who was just letting him have it, and there's the Nolan Arenado element of it that's just so...
Well, and that's so unfair to the players themselves. They don't control that. He does it. The last time I watched him pitch a spring training game, he was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really excited about watching him pitch. So when we started this, and he wasn't the only one that did a fluky thing.
Right.
If there's only one that does it, but when they multiply on themselves, that's what happened. Yeah. That's happened the first. And then you worry, is it going to carry over? Are we going to have a whole game of this? And we didn't.
Right. Right.
That's good.
It's
That's really good.
Almost amazing that the entire game wasn't a complete disaster, considering the way it started, that he really didn't get his command back.
No.
He kept issuing the walks. He only was able to go 3 innings, battling himself out there. There was an irony to the fact that I think the big concern when he was acquired, and I know people in our Discord chat and on Twitter and stuff talking about being a curveball pitcher, being a fly ball pitcher, and that was not the issue at all today. The Dodgers weren't like, they got 1 hit off of him, which, I mean, he wasn't throwing the ball in the strike zone.
Right,
It's hard to get hits that way. But still, it just, I guess what I'll say is, as much as this was bad, I don't think it's in any way necessarily indicative of what we're going to see out of Austin Gomber, the pitcher. We basically got no information about what he's going to look like on the mound today, which is frustrating. But I think, for that, we kind of just have to call this one a wash.
Yeah.
So.
We had 4 games against the Dodgers. We won the first one.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful win. Good weekend. It didn't snow. I was really, I've been to that.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
We did snow opening day not that long ago.
Yeah. No, it's a great weekend, and baseball's back, and people are there, and they're having fun.
Yeah.
People are in the crowd, and we're having fun.
Well, and to your point, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when Patrick joins us, but just that kind of notion. I think game 2, those first 6 innings when the Rockies are down 10-0.
Yeah.
I think that's what people in their minds and guts were kind of expecting the whole season to be, right?
We're going to go in and play, and we're going to get beat up, especially the Dodgers, world champions, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get, shredded.
They're the best team.
Yeah.
We're the worst team.
So to get 6 runs on Kershaw in the first game and knock him out of the game, and to run a potential no or shutout from Bauer, and just like, now he's got to leave. No, I like that a lot.
Yeah. 4 home runs, having and that was in the game that was the furthest out of hand, right?
Yes.
Them messing up. And then you've got the next game, which we haven't really discussed much yet on the podcast, where it's a 1-run game.
Yeah.
John Gray's pitching extraordinarily well, has to come out with the full body cramps. Sounds like he'll be fine, and he'll be back out there to make his next start. But that was a frustrating moment for him because he was going so well. You had 1 misplay by Josh Fuentes on a very tough ball that kind of ate him up. I believe they credited Corey Seager with a single on that, which is right and fair. But still, if he comes up with that, that's another one where you're going, Rockies split this set, and you're going, well.
Yeah. We could say that about a few things this weekend. Is
And I get that. Look, that's not how it works. Those are the ifs. There's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of that all season. This is not to say, hey man, the Rockies are right in the class with the Dodgers, or this is an indication that we should all be changing our preseason predictions and bumping them up 5 or 10 games. This is just to say that they played an entertaining brand of baseball. They were right there, and it's legitimately they competed, and it is legitimately the case that a couple mistakes don't go against them, or mistakes that they made for sure.
Right.
You've got to clean that stuff up, and those are the things that happen over the course of 162 games for a less experienced and less talented team. But it does show them to themselves the kinds of things like, you make that one play next time, Josh, and maybe, just maybe, you sneak out a series split against the class of the National League, and you can hold your heads pretty high about that.
Right. If they had actually won 1 more game, the talk would be that. Now it's just, Rockies lose to the Dodgers. Dodgers are good. Rockies aren't. But no.
But that was another thing and I was kind of saying this to another reporter today in the press box, because shout out to Paul Klee. I don't need to even play that coy at all. Paul Klee of the Colorado Gazette. He's awesome and we love him. And I was chatting with him, and he was kind of asking me about the Dodgers. And I say, if you're thinking about this from a Dodgers perspective, they really did not come out and dominate the Rockies.
Not at all.
Their top 2 pitchers we talked about got knocked around a little bit. Now, Julio Urias was fantastic today. He was extraordinary.
Very, very good. Yes.
But other than that, they had 1 home run in the whole series, and it was an inside the park home run that was in Raimel Tapia's glove.
Yes.
And then the home run that wasn't, right, that Bellinger almost hit, but they really didn't hit the ball into the seats.
No.
In this series. They didn't hit the ball in the gap that much. Their bullpen was shaky and allowed the Rockies to get back into each one of those games. And so the Dodgers really didn't come out here and just smoke them.
No. And if things had been reversed, people would be good. Oh, the Dodgers beat themselves. They just had some fluky things. That's not going to last. They're the Dodgers. They'll be fine the rest of the season. Those things happen. It's baseball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I know winning is always better than losing, and some people will tell you,
yes,
you can't have fun if you lose. And I know you're not of that opinion, but somebody tweeted at me today, if they're going to play like this all season and still lose, but if they're going to play like this all season, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. And I thought that was I know some people hate that perspective, but I just don't.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like to lose. Yeah. I'm as competitive as the next. I want to win. I want to win, every pitch, every at bat. I want every one of those things to win for the Rockies, right?
Yeah. I mean, she wants to win minor league games.
Yes.
Like when Grand Junction is going
games,
toward
I want to win.
Right, in spring training, she'll be like, yeah, but we got the W. I'll be like, no, it doesn't matter.
I would beat my kids playing horse till I couldn't beat them any longer.
I don't know what our all-time record is in horse, but I'm sure you've got me by like 100 games. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
But for me, baseball. I love baseball. I want to watch baseball. I will watch a baseball game even if it's not one of my teams.
Right.
And I like that. And I think if you're not going to have fun, if you just care what the bottom line is, win or lose, don't watch the game. Go bet on whatever it is you're betting on and just look at the score at the end. Because if you can't enjoy it, if you can't have fun, baseball's probably not the game for you.
There's a lot of losing one way or the other, but especially,
there is.
Yeah.
And we will win.
Right.
Nobody wins them all. Nobody loses them all in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they play at this level against teams that aren't the Dodgers, they're going to win. Let me put it this way. And again, they can beat other teams. and I'll say this, again, I know some people are like, oh, Drew, what, you want us to be excited about not losing 100 games or not being a last place team? You get to decide what you're going to be excited about or enjoy or not. All I can tell you is that I think it's kind of fun to say, you know what, everyone thinks they're going to lose 100, and I look out there and I go, that is not a 100-loss baseball team. I still don't think they're going to have a winning record or anything like that this year. But that's not these guys that we're looking at right now, there's more talent out there than they're being given credit for.
Absolutely. These are guys that have worked hard to get where they are. We know that baseball players are some of the best athletes in the world. Anybody in the major leagues is above that, and they're going to go out and they're going to compete. If the ball players had the attitude of some of the fans and that negativity, that would be really bad. That would show they go out there and it's the bad news bears or whatever, and not even try.
You see your team quit, and teams do quit. I saw some people on Twitter taking it for granted, like, we know they were going to come out and try. Like, look, man. That's not the case in professional sports all the time everywhere. No. It's really not a given that guys will come out and give it their all.
And I haven't felt like in any of these games that any of our players went up to bat in the field. I don't have to bother to catch that ball.
Yeah.
No big deal.
I mean, that is pretty rare. But hey, I'll tell you what, I've got an article coming out tomorrow that gives you a reason to root for every single guy on this roster. And if you want to be able to read it, you got to become a member of the family. I know some of you are slackers, some of you are procrastinators. You were waiting to become a member of the DNVR family until the season started. Then it snuck up on you. You got caught up in all the opening weekend stuff, and you forgot to do it. You've been putting it off, but you got a little bit of time now. There's an off day. You can take a look at those finances. It's not even that much. Go become a member of the DNVR family right now for the year so that you don't miss any of the written content. Plus, you're getting discounts on hats, shirts, masks constantly. You get a bigger beer when you come down to the DNVR bar. Look at this sucker. It's ginormous. That's the technical term. You get a ginormous beer when you come down to the DNVR bar. If you get that annual membership, we'll throw a free shirt your direction. You can get this Larry Walker Hall of Fame shirt, all kinds of fantastic stuff that we've got down there at the DNVR locker, and we'll hook you up with a free holistic stick from Holistic Wellness. It's 10 milligrams of CBD focused on recovery. Little
with
stick.
A new membership?
Yeah, new membership.
Hey, I just bought one for a friend. Right. Where's my?
I think he's going to get your CBD stick. The two of you are going to have to. You're going to have to bargain to see who gets that. It's real simple, though. You just pop the top off of that thing. You pour it into whatever drink you've got. You stir it up. You get a nice little CBD of recovery there. You've had some of the CBD stuff recently from Holistic Wellness that we've had. Does that help you sleep
okay.
nice and
yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So again, you can get a discount also using code DNVR30. You'll get 30% off from them at Holistic Wellness. But if you just want to try one, become a member, get that free Holistic stick. Check out the reviews at holisticwellness.com. That's HOLISTIK wellness.com. And also, we've got our friends over at Gabby Insurance. You know, they saved me about $480 on my car insurance for the year. Takes less than 10 minutes to check them out online. Just go to gabi.com/DNVR. All the letters for you. gabi.com/DNVR. Hang out, put in a couple of little pieces of basic information about your insurance. They'll hook you up with a whole bunch of quotes. You choose the one you like the best, and boom, you're saving a whole bunch of money. There's no risk. There's no obligation. It costs you nothing. It saves you money. This is the only one of our sponsors. Look, let's be honest here. We love what they sell, and we always enjoy the product. You get the beer, you get the beef, you get the Strava Craft coffee. You're getting a great product, but your wallet ends up lighter at the end of the day. This is the only sponsor that just goes completely the other direction. There's no money involved here. You just save money. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't go to gabi.com/DNVR. Patrick Lyons appears to be ready to join us from just outside of Coors Field, having sat in on some conversations with Colorado Rockies manager Bud Black. Hopefully we've got a decent connection. Look like we may have some frozen Patrick Lyons, but we'll see how the audio is. Patrick, are you there?
Patrick, can you hear us?
We have frozen Patrick. Oh, bummer.
Well, let's try again in a sec.
All right, we'll see if we can get back with Patrick here in just a minute. Let's talk about the offense for a moment, Mom. As I said, Julio Urias had a fantastic game.
He did.
He was really getting at him early. It's tough to tell, Crone had some really ugly swings, I will say. There were some ugly swings out there. There was no offense going early. After the first couple of games, is that the kind of thing like you're starting to worry, like, oh man, no big fireworks from Story and Blackman, or
where are these guys? Put the bat on the ball.
Let's
get something, out there in the grass or something, do something. But you start looking and you're going. So the degrees of winning in baseball, just don't get shut out, right?
Yeah.
You get to, or you're going, come on, let's do some stuff. Let's just. Don't get, which we didn't.
Right. Don't get shut out. Don't get no hit. You start with those things. You build on it a little bit. Obviously, you want to do better than that. That's always ideal.
Some of the best bats had good opportunities, and it didn't come through.
Story actually had a couple of opportunities to come up big and didn't have particularly good at bats. That's one of the things I've thought was kind of strange about the series. Now, he had in game 3, right? There was the time he had like 2 just screamers into the deep gap that Cody Bellinger tracked down and caught, and you just shake your head. But then when he strikes out today with runners out there in scoring position, and you just go, oh man, just a little base hit to right field gets you guys back in this game.
Yeah, and you expect it to happen.
Yeah.
See, I'm now at the point where I expect him to do that.
Right.
And a couple of other people, and it didn't happen today.
So.
And there are going to be games like that, but come on.
Yeah. Well, and so that I think was the discouraging thing. Encouragingly, the young guys out there, Chris Owings being a part of it again. Big hit for Garrett Hampson. You got to be happy that Hamp came up with that moment there. He's trying to work he's one of those guys that we're keeping our eyes on, right, to see what he's going to mean for the future of this team, and to see him come up late, hit a solid line drive in the gap.
Elias Diaz didn't do good, and I expect him I expect his bat to show up in situations like that. It has all spring.
Yeah. And last year, he's been a good contact hitter.
Daza. I was so excited he got to play, and then,
Rougher game for Daza. That's another thing where you wonder if Tapia doesn't have his. Now, I know he's left on left, but Tapia hits left, he's fine, and if he's healthy, I think he starts today.
Right.
That's another.
They get,
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Trying with Patrick again. All right. There he is.
Hey, Patrick.
Happy birthday, Barbara. Happy
Thank you.
Sunday, Drew. How are you?
He did say that, right?
All right, Patrick, can you hear us?
Oh, all we got was a happy birthday wish, and he froze again. Oh, no.
You know, he was a little surprised with.
Ah.
I think he's frozen again.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
I was getting audio, but then, yeah.
Got him for a sec.
Well,
Too worried. He only gave up 3 runs, just 3 innings. It certainly could have been a lot worse for having 7 walks. So that was the early takeaway, and be proud of the boys for battling back.
what?
He's broken up.
Yeah, well, we got some Patrick in there. Hopefully the audience could hear whatever knowledge he was dropping a little bit better than I could right before he got cut off there. Excellent report, I assume, from Patrick Lyons.
Absolutely. What else would you expect, right?
That's really too bad. We've had better success with the Wi-Fi out there before, so new brave new world we're living in with all the technologies figuring things out these days. While we're working on getting Patrick back in, I may as well give a couple of shout outs again to our sponsors. We've also got Zoom today, Zoom Care. I don't like going into the doctor's office, sitting in waiting rooms. I know you don't like going into the doctor's office, sitting in waiting rooms. Nobody likes going into the doctor's office, sitting in waiting rooms, filling out stuff on a clipboard, waiting around forever, being in that weird environment. I don't like it. I much prefer to do stuff over Zoom these
sick
days.
People.
Sick people walking around in there, including me.
Yeah,
I'd rather do it on Zoom Care. Go to zoomcare.com, check them out. It's absolutely fantastic. They accept most insurances with a copay. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a doctor's office over Zoom. You can do it in a safe way. They can check you out for all kinds of stuff. They've even got some mental health care options for you. So check them out at zoomcare.com. That's ZOOMCARE.com to schedule your appointment today. All right, let's go ahead and get into, so we covered, I think, the offense there. We got to do our draft king of the game. I hope we can get Patrick back, but if not, that's all right. It's too bad. But Chichi Gonzalez has got to be our draft king of the game. He really did have a fantastic performance. Coming in there, like we talked about, this could have become a disaster in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons that it didn't was Chichi Gonzalez going out there for 3 innings, only issuing a pair of walks, no hits. The Dodgers didn't really threaten against him at all, right?
Right.
Very
exactly.
in control.
Yeah. Put the whole game back in control just because it stabilized everything and there was no additional scoring, right?
Yeah.
And then, and had to remember that he also came in the first game, right?
Right. And pitched multiple innings.
Right.
And it was questioned.
Right?
He did. That's right.
Yeah, the first game. So, that was really nice to see. Because if he can be really solid for the Rockies this year, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
People might not notice as much if he doesn't start. But right now he's a starter, right? But if he can come in also in that role, wow.
Well, right now, I guess he's I do believe he was slated to be the team's 5th starter. They haven't needed one yet, and so he's only pitched out of the bullpen, and it does beg the question, if he has to pick up 2 or 3 innings out of the bullpen every 3 or 4 days, is he ever going to be able to make a start? And that's when they may have to turn to Jolie Chassin in that situation. But like you said, it after him kind of being stretched and it being questionable that they left him in for the 2nd inning in game 1, he gives up a couple of runs, but they hold on anyway to go back out there and kind of dominate the Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, I was nervous about it.
Yeah.
He did well. He's so we're going to start with openers. Is that what you're saying? We're going to start having openers.
Start doing the opener thing. Well, and I do think that was the one, if you're going to try to paint a silver lining or a bright spot on Austin Gomber's game, there's the phrase in baseball, giving in, where sometimes when you get so sick and tired of walking guys to your command, you just throw a pitch over the middle of the plate and hope the guy gets himself out. They'll say that, right? Maybe he'll just roll this over. I'll fool him with the type of pitch.
I say don't walk no matter what, and then they throw it across the plate. Yeah.
And what Gomber refused to do today was that. I mean, at some point you do want him to throw the ball over the plate, but he didn't give up the big 3-run jack or the whatever, right? And so they did kind of work as a piggyback unit today that just kind of refused to give in and throw the Dodgers anything to hit.
Right.
And they really did that all series. And, like, that'll kill your bullpen and your rotation over the course of 162. But it was clear that their strategy from a pitching standpoint all series long was don't throw the ball over the plate.
Right. But the other thing is when they scored the 3 runs in the top of the first, which is a killer,
Right.
he wasn't the only one that made a mistake.
Right.
And that's hard. If you're making mistakes and the people behind you are making mistakes, that's when you see things getting out of hand. And they didn't, 3's not good, but they didn't let it get out of hand. Nobody scored on him in the second or the third.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. So, but the really good stuff from our draft king of the game, Chichi Gonzalez, to come out there, stabilize things, and put the
Absolutely.
Rockies in a position where they could have won that game.
Yep. And they had the opportunity to win, and they
did.
did not,
Trevor Story
but
comes
yeah,
up with
yeah.
a big hit there late after the Hampson double. And, if it goes over the wall, he's tied the game. If not, he's made it a one-runner with himself right out there to do some things. And Charlie Blackmon coming up. Blackmon also didn't have a good game. Hasn't had a great series yet other than the big 2-run home run that kind of got everything going the other night against
that
Bauer.
was nice, yeah.
So who cares, right? But, yeah, ultimately, and then the rest of the pen, was fine. Robert Stevenson gives up a long home run. But other than that,
But Estevez
was good. Michael Givens,
Givens
probably
was-
the best inning we've seen out of him in a
Yep.
Rockies uniform so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, and that feels good to have those two come in and in the middle there in relief and do well was really nice to see.
Yeah. So, a few other things that we want to get to here. This will be interesting. We may have to wing some of this without Patrick, so you're going to have to play
no.
a pivotal role in our power rankings
I didn't take
here.
notes.
I know, right? We're gonna. No one said there was going to be a pop quiz after today's
That's
game
right.
for you. Well, if you want to study for the pop quiz, you could maybe do so at MSU Denver Online. I don't know what kind of classes they offer in terms of your baseball note taking, but you never know. They've got a lot
Do
of
they
stuff.
have sports management classes?
Asking for a franchise?
Asking for a franchise. Just the idea.
I think they might. So if you want to be the new
CMU
GM,
does now. No,
That's
they're not
right.
a sponsor, shouldn't mention, but they do have sports management. And
Well-
so maybe.
I would bet MSU Denver Online does. So check them out.
Okay.
Go to msudenver.edu/online. They got all kinds of stuff. You want to be the new GM of the Colorado Rockies, the new team president, they probably got classes for you there. If you just want to be able to take some notes, you want to learn a little bit about history, math, science, music, all kinds of stuff. They got fantastic teachers. They tend to work in the area
Right.
that you're studying in, which is always a big deal. Can help you find a little bit of work. And the scheduling, the flexibility. The biggest thing that everybody I know who's taking classes there says is, we're able to work. I'm able to continue to work
Right.
and get my education. That's so important for so many people. So just check them out. It almost certainly fits whatever your schedule and situation is. If you need a little more education for whatever purpose, go to msudenver.edu/online. All right. So one of the things that we're going to try to do here, moving forward on these series wraps, which this is a little bit of a unique one for everybody out there. We're having an Easter Sunday, and as Patrick mentioned, happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you.
And an opening series wrap. So we don't have, so Michaela and Patrick aren't here regularly like they will be, but moving on throughout the season, one of the things that we want to try to do is kind of take stock of the most memorable things that happen throughout this year. And there were a lot in this opening series. We're not expecting things to be quite as wild throughout the rest of the year as they were this set. So let's start first with just this question, and I'll sort of remind you of some of the things, but what do you think you will remember most about this series? Anything from just, hey, they beat up Clayton Kershaw on opening day and got the win, to the home run that wasn't, with the two guys with Bellinger and Turner crossing base paths. There was the cat.
Right.
There. So what do you think is the most memorable moment from this series?
Well, for me, it was beating Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
I'm not a Dodgers fan. Never have been.
You don't say.
And I'm really glad we won the game. But if we hadn't won the game, and had scored 6 on Clayton Kershaw and knocked him out of the game, I would still consider it a win.
Got him.
I got him right there. And then the second one would be the home run that wasn't a home run, just because you try to tell people they're kind of fans, but you don't know, and it's what's going on. It's like if you go to baseball games, if you watch baseball games, you're going to see something you guys have talked about you've never seen before. I've never seen that before, and I don't expect to see it again this year.
No.
So we will see, right?
Right. I think that's got to be number one on my list is the home run that wasn't, because I've just never seen it. Apparently, Will voting for Cat. saw Will's voting
Will.
Cat.
My vote's for the Cat.
Oh dear.
All right, Kale's also voting for Cat. I think Cat might be a solid number 2 on the most memorable moments of the Rocky season power rankings. Like, we're going to update this in the
okay.
future,
Yeah.
right?
Keeping a running list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So beating Kershaw, then there's the 4 home runs in an inning.
Oh,
Something this
absolutely.
franchise has only done twice in their history.
Yes.
And they did it going into that inning with 0 hits against Trevor Bauer,
Yeah.
last year's NL Cy Young
I was
Award
gonna say, I heard he
winner.
was good.
I've heard that guy's pretty solid. So my question, I think I'm going to put the 4 home runs in an inning at third place on my
Okay.
list. I'm going the home run that wasn't, the Cat,
Right.
4 home runs in an inning where
Okay.
you were getting no hit.
Right.
And the inning began with, in fact, the inning was pitched by 2 Cy Young Award winners, because
Right.
David Price has a Cy Young Award, right? I'm going to double check this.
That
I'm
I don't
90% sure
But
he does.
He's pretty damn good too.
Yeah.
And so, to get home runs off of both of them. So 2 off of Bauer, right? And then 2 off of Price.
That's right.
So 4 in the inning.
You got to love the symmetry of it.
I'm sure-
He won the Cy Young Award in 2012.
I'm
He
sure
came
the
in
Dodgers,
second, did David Price in 2015. So,
I'm sure the Dodgers fans were in shock. So that would have been worth the price of being able to see,
okay. So, and then I think so. We've got, I got to do the countdown again. The home run that wasn't, the Cat, the 4 home runs in an inning. Then I think beating Clayton Kershaw's still got to be on. It's number 1 on your list, and I think for
Well-
the Rockies. But knocking them up, and it goes with the whole opening day,
yeah.
big win at Coors Field, taking
Yes.
out. Yeah, so I'm going with that. Again, another guy who's a pretty good pitcher.
I've heard that.
Put that in 4th place. Then in 5th, there's a lot of candidates from this series.
Ooh.
You've got Austin Gomber walking 7 dudes. That's going to be memorable. You may not love the memory.
I erased this from my memory right away. I try,
You've got Raimel Tapia for the second time
Home
in this
run.
series, almost robbing a home run,
almost
but
robbing
not.
one. And then he got one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then he hit a home run
And then he
off of
hit
Walker
one.
Buehler on a very
Yeah.
good pitch, did Raimel Tapia.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate that. Yeah, the great start from John Gray. I don't think it was quite great enough to be, at the end of the season. Are we going to remember that?
No, he's going to have better starts.
I think that's right. Oh, good point. That's a good point.
Absolutely, he's going to have better starts.
How about C.J. Cron trucking Austin Barnes at home plate?
That's pretty good.
That's an honorary 5th for now,
Yeah,
especially because Austin Barnes is okay, so we don't have to feel bad.
Right.
He got back out there, so we can just look at it and go, "Oh, what a collision!" We can do the WWE, AEW.
Oh damn, he broke his shoulder. That wasn't good. No,
Yeah,
no, he's
yeah.
back.
You don't right,
Yeah.
right. That now it's okay. So I'll stick that in. Kale, you got anything else? Most memorable moments of the series? Honorable mention at 5th place, I think, has got to be Cron trucking Barnes, but.
I mean, you guys mentioned all the big ones.
Yeah. Like we said, we'll have to update it throughout, and there's not going to be, I
Yeah.
think, as many wild things that go on throughout. This one almost got super strange because, like, in the middle of the 7th inning, both teams only had 2 hits, and it was 3-0, but
Yeah.
as we talked about, it's super weird. Also, with those not being earned runs, Austin Gomber left the game with a 3.00 ERA. So, like, his raw stats look fine,
Right.
even though he was terrible.
Right. I know, it's weird.
Baseball is just the most bizarre game. So, since I don't want to be a downer and put Austin Gomber's 7 walks in our 5th place spot, and we'll have, like, graphics and we can update this in the future for just throughout the season. With every series wrapped, we'll see if anything else was memorable enough to get on the list. Because you never know, like you said, that's the great thing about this game. And I think we're going to have some big moments this season. Some are kind of baked in. We know Charlie Blackmon's going to pass some milestones, and those will be big. But some are going to come out of absolutely nowhere.
Right. Well, yeah. And who was the Dodger on first that got in the rundown and got picked?
That was Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts making two. So you know the phrase "toot plan," thrown out on the bases while running like a nincompoop or something like that is the full.
He
but
did
did that. He should have done it twice today.
Yeah.
He should have been out at home, but Gomber didn't get the ball. And then I don't know what he was thinking. Almost an extraordinary play. At second base, great stop, but then no business making a terrible throw. It bounced right back to Crone, and Mookie Betts would have been, he was way out. I don't know why he thought going to second was smart right there. And he's a really smart baseball player and a really good base runner.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, those are the kinds of things when a Rocky makes dumb mistakes like that, they go, oh, that's so Rockies. And when a guy like that does it, you go, well, that's weird.
Yeah. Mookie Betts did it. Well, it happens. It's okay.
It's a little bit bizarre. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's not fair. That was exactly my reaction. I was like, when did Mookie Betts forget how to run the bases? He's a really good baseball player. I don't understand what's happening. It's truly bizarre.
But he was way out.
He was way out. Like, he just stopped. In fact, he just stopped at home plate, too, on that play. Yeah. He didn't even slide in. He was expecting to be way out. And then he was like, oh, he doesn't have the ball. I'm just going to step on home plate here and score this run. First run of the game. It's truly a bizarre series. But again, that's one of the great things about baseball. That's one of the things that makes it so wonderful and magnificent is that.
There are certain things that are so consistent, game in and game out. But back to the round ball and the round bat make endless possibilities of what could happen.
You gotta hit it square, as they say.
It's not cricket.
No. All right, one more of these things, and then we'll wrap it up with some fun stuff. We've got our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Like Mom said, if you're into scoreboard watching and you just want to know who wins and loses at the end of the day, or if you want to make what you feel are going to be some inevitable Rockies losses turn into wins, get on DraftKings Sportsbook and make sure you're following us on YouTube. We had now this is on the podcast for you podcast listeners. We did a YouTube show yesterday that was just on YouTube. It's a middle of the series thing we're trying out. It's not being part of the podcast. So if if you're like, hey, I don't need to go and watch, I just listen when it comes on my podcast feed. These are shows you're not going to get. So you want to make sure to go to the YouTube and watch them. And one of the things we're doing on these shows is giving you the DraftKings over-under picks for that game. And we gave out before the John Gray start, we said take the over on 4.5 Ks. That hit.
Yeah.
And then the three of us are going to pick in these shows a person to get a hit that night. Patrick picked Garrett Hampson. He was the last one to come through with a hit. Yeah. Michaela picked Charlie Blackmon. He was the first one to come up with a hit. And I picked CJ Crone, who came up with a hit. So we went 3 for 3 plus the over on John Gray strikeouts. And that's how you make a Rockies loss into a win for you at home and a win for everybody out there.
Did you guys do an over-under on the total score?
That's right. We took.
It was 11.5.
That's right. And we took the under.
And they did 11.
And they is that right? That's right. It was
6-5.
It was a 6-5 game.
And I kept thinking, but I want to win the game, and I don't care if you guys are wrong. That was where I was. I knew the 11, but
I want those extra runs because I don't care if you guys are wrong.
Yeah,
fair enough. That said, we hit on every single one of those. So if you went to the DraftKings Sportsbook app just after watching that show, just based on our prognostications, you walked away with a little bit of money. And hey, we're not always going to hit like that, but it is always going to make watching these games a little bit more fun. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you do sign up because they'll hook you up with a promo code where you can turn, or the promo code is DNVR. They'll hook you up with the promo where you turn $1 into $100 if the college basketball team of your choosing pulls off the win for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Mom, day off tomorrow for the club. We are going to have more stuff for you. Like I said, I've got a big article coming out about reasons why every single guy on this roster is worth rooting for. Be on the lookout for that. I know Patrick is working on a pretty big piece himself. You got to be subscribed to DNVR to read all that. So even though there's a day off, we're not taking a day off. But then the Rockies start a series against Arizona. After this opening set, like we said, we're not dramatically changing our end-of-season win total predictions, but how are you feeling about this team? Kind of going back to that comment at the beginning of the show of our guy on Twitter saying, if they're going to play like this, I think I'm going to be okay.
They're going to be fun to watch. Sometimes it is really fun to watch players come into their own, to actually go to the game to see the game, watch the game, because you want to see what happens. Again, not because it's just the end score. And yeah, like I said, win, but I think it's going to be fun. These guys are out there working hard. They want to show they're for real. They want to show that they are pro ball players, and it's definitely been entertaining so far.
Yeah.
It has been amazingly entertaining in certain ways.
Amazingly. Now, I got to ask you this question since I've got you here, and I think there's a lot of perfectly reasonable stances on this thing as somebody I know who not especially thrilled about putting a ton of more money in Dick Monfort's pockets either.
Oh, God, I'm not either, yeah.
What's your stance on the All-Star game and whether or not you'd like it to come to Denver this year?
I want the All-Star game to come to Denver. I think Denver is the best choice. I think Colorado is the best choice. And I think that MLB didn't decide to move the All-Star game out of Atlanta because Atlanta's a bad city. They decided to move it very specifically because of the political nature of what the Georgia legislature did. So if you're going to turn around and move it someplace, you got to move it to the right place. And I think we're the right place.
Now, I've heard some people say the best argument I've heard against, I think, has actually been, what about Kansas City?
Oh, I already said no to Kansas City.
Why not?
Okay, so I saw people lobbying for Kansas City, and I'm a Royals fan.
Right.
They're the first team I ever saw live. I love the Royals. I root for them unless they're playing the Rockies, every other team. And it's the 100-year anniversary of the Negro Leagues. We've been to the Negro League Museum.
Yes,
I would love to see that support. But quite frankly, Missouri's not doing a whole lot better than Georgia. And they've done some really bad things just since the election. And I think if you move for political reasons, you got to be careful where you go and that political situation.
You certainly send a mixed message if you're saying, we stand against voter suppression, and then you go to other places that are all doing the same thing.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I said to Patrick at the end of, again, our YouTube show. Go and check that out if you want Patrick and Michaela's thoughts on this particular subject. It's still there on YouTube.
And
nowhere else to find it. But that was the thing, right, is it's even if there's, I understand people like, don't reward Dick Monfort, don't do the thing, but right now this is bigger than baseball. What matters is that the All-Star Game is played in the right place.
Right.
And right now Denver I just think is the perfect fit.
Yeah. I don't want to do it to reward Dick Monfort.
No, nobody does.
But teams, you want to think that in some ways your teams are even bigger than the owners. I know the owners don't think that, but the owners are the owners, and there are less than good owners in all sports and in lots of different places. Yeah, but I think Colorado's the right place. I think we have really demonstrated, over the last few years, strong support of voting rights. And that's what it's about.
Right. That's literally the thing.
We have one of the best voting rights systems, processes, and have proven that it works and why it does. And I honestly think lots of people are confused. They think that there's other stuff out,
Yeah, but it's like we've proven it works here, and there
absolutely.
are no issues. And everyone here knows. So, I think that's it. It's just if you want to drive that point home, that's where you've got to do it.
Yes. You have to go someplace where the voting rights processes are good.
That's what they call setting an example. Right?
Exactly.
So getting back to setting an example, since I've got you here, I want to do this just before we finish out. Now, Patrick and Michaela and I gave our very very serious, very important predictions for the Rockies season. Now, it has already started. You've gotten an opening weekend, so you've gotten a little leg up on us to see some actual baseball. We know small sample sizes like this don't mean much, but just wanted to get some of your takes on how many games you think the Rockies can win this year and who you think are going to be their best pitcher, best position player, just the guys you think are in for big years. Well, why don't we do it that way instead of putting you on too much of a spot there? Just say, because I know you do a pool, so how many wins did you put them down?
Locally, we do a pool.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you always give yourself a range and you try to think through what the range is and how do you come up with the best number. And I went high just because I want to think positive, be supportive. I did 75. I bet I'm the highest in our pool.
Okay.
So,
tells you where the Rockies are at right now. That 75 was the highest in the pool.
I know.
But still.
But I think they can do it.
I think they can too.
I'm not sure they will,
not sure
but
they
I think
will.
they can. And,
I will say, watching them play this opening weekend, and Marquez and Senzatella get it together a little bit. Obviously we still need to see on Gomber, but the offense is nowhere near as bad as people are leading you to believe.
Yeah.
And it's not Coors Field.
No, it's not.
And these guys aren't world beaters, but they can hit a little bit.
Right. And that's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
Put the bat on the ball, things will happen. Do that enough times, things will happen. There will be, it's going to be a really interesting season, I think.
And
pitchers, talking about pitchers?
Yeah. I'm going to say, who's a pitcher or two that you've really got your eye on this year?
Well, Marquez did not have a great start.
No.
But he was pitching pretty good, and I think he'll be okay. I do. I still have faith in Marquez and Gray and Senzatella. Chichi's the one that kind of surprised me because it seemed like he'd do okay for an inning, and then he wouldn't last year, and you're just going, oh dear, So, and he's done well.
Yeah.
Bard's looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I mean, yeah. 99 will play. 99 on the black will play.
If we can get the middle relievers, and
right.
Estevez looked good today.
He did. He needed
made
that.
Me nervous. He looked really good today, and Givens did too.
Yeah.
And if those guys can be that solid, I think. Offensively, I think we've got some good guys. I think Charlie and Trevor are going to be them.
Sure.
I think they will be. I'm really excited about Fuentes, Rimac, and I know
Rimac with a barehanded play today, looking good over at third base.
Oh yeah.
Almost reminded you of Josh Fuentes' cousin.
Almost. Josh Fuentes' cousin.
Can't remember that guy's name. Josh Fuentes' cousin. Didn't he used to play here?
We all got a lot of cousins, and you kind of run around. And
I know you like all the young guys.
That's what I was trying to tell Michaela. I am partial to the guys that played in Grand Junction because I watched them play their rookie year.
Right.
And that's Tapia and Gray and Estevez and Rimac. And who else is in there?
Nunez has had a nice...
Nunez.
Nunez had a nice series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I'm really excited to see all of those guys get a chance to perform, and know they can.
Yeah.
They're young. Our team just doesn't have as much experience. They do things on resumes and they go, oh, our firm has 140 years experience. And you're thinking, well, is that 100 people times 2 years?
Yeah.
What is that?
How exactly are we measuring this? Yeah.
And in the baseball, it's kind of like that. You have a lot of people with limited experience.
Yeah.
But again, they've been playing baseball a long time. I remember Raimel Tapia the first time we saw him bat in Grand Junction, and your dad said, that kid's too skinny, he'll never make the majors.
Never gonna work.
Look how skinny he is.
Yeah, he was. He was a beanpole back then. He was also 18 years old, I think.
Well, exactly.
But yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really is amazing watching the journey that some of these guys have gone on and realizing that for players like Ryan McMahon and Sam Hilliard and even guys like Kyle Freeland when he comes back that are in their mid-20s now, that they're still proving who they are and growing into the the full player that they'll be known.
Right. And
as.
some guys at 18 aren't even as tall as they're going to be.
Right.
Some guys can do, much less put on muscle,
Right.
work out, do those kind of things. So yeah, it has been really Casey Golden was in a spring training game a couple days ago, right?
Right.
He was playing it.
just a few days ago, we were in spring
we were
training,
back
right?
doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, man.
So I'm excited about the year. You know, thrilled that we've got baseball, that fans can actually go, and excited to see what these guys can do. So bring it on.
Same. Like, it's going to be a fun year if they play like this. I'll tell you that. So we're going to keep watching them. We're going to keep having fun. We're going to keep breaking down the most memorable moments of the season. We're going to be writing articles about what these guys are doing on and off the field all year long. Hopefully we're going to have several of them on the show to join us. That's going to be fun throughout the year. Be talking with these guys. And, you know, yeah, like, I guess my final assessment of this entire thing, and again, I don't want to tell anybody what to think or how to root or how to feel or any of that stuff, but if you want to find joy in this season, if you don't just want to be miserable or turn it off, if you plan on watching all the games and you're very legitimately asking the question, why am I doing this? What is this for? You will find these small victories in the games. They're all there. And if you adjust your expectations to being excited that Garrett Hampson came up with that big double, Dom Nunez and Sam Hilliard hit their big home runs.
Catchers that can hit the ball sometimes.
They have catchers who can hit the ball sometimes. These are the kinds of expectations. You've got to be able to leap over those bars and say, you know, yeah, they're not going to win a lot of baseball games this year.
Gomber get a hit today?
Gomber did get a hit today.
See?
Gomber had the hardest hit ball in the game through the first 6 innings, despite the fact that he couldn't pitch. See, exactly. If you can't be entertained by that, it's going to be a rough season. But if you can, if you can find the joy and the fun and all those types of things, and the cap, and the home run that wasn't, and the getting 4 on those guys, even though you lost the game, going, ha, you thought you were going to beat us up. And instead, we totally screwed up your ERA, Trevor Bauer.
That's right.
Come on. If you can't call those wins, going to be a rough season. But we're going to have fun with it. We're going to keep doing it all year long. As I said, make sure you're subscribed to the DNVR.com. Become a member today. There's all kinds of discounts and goodies that you get for doing that. If you do the year long, you get the free shirt and the holistic stick from Holistic Wellness. Follow everyone on social media. I'm at Drew Creasman, you know, at Patrick D. Lyons, at Michaela E. Perkins, at Kale Sorbo, at DNVR_Rockies. Are you back on Twitter yet?
No, I'm sorry.
We'll get her all set up at Baseball Mom.
Yes.
Something. But yeah, we'll get you all back in there because we're having fun being a Rockies community, talking about the team and enjoying the players going out there and doing their thing separately from continuing to be upset at what's going on in the front office. That's the other thing that I want to make 100% clear is I see some people going like, oh man, you're celebrating what's happening on the field. That must mean that you're losing sight of what no.
Not at all.
No one's losing sight of that. I've called for a new GM, a new team president, and the sale of the team. That's the best I can do. For now, we're going to enjoy baseball.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thanks for hanging out with us, continuing to be absolutely awesome out there. I promise you, we will continue to be absolutely Barbara and Drew Creasman in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.